talking about one of the distress tolerance skills, my personal favorite skill, radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is a skill that can help us get through some really tough times. It helps us with those feelings of being stuck and ultimately helps us feel free. Consider these problems. Your internet's really slow. Your parent makes something for dinner that you hate. You're an athlete and you get injured and you can't play the rest of the season. There's a global pandemic and you can't go to school or see your friends. You're forced to stay at home and see the same faces over and over again. You're worried about your health and the health of people around you, and you can't even get your hair done. Okay, I digress. How about these? You get dumped. Your parents get a divorce. A loved one dies. Those last problems are pretty serious, and they come with really intense emotions. But what all the problems have in common is that we have very little control over them. We do have a choice, though, in how we respond. We can choose to stay stuck and miserable, or we can practice radical acceptance. So what is radical acceptance? Well, radical means totally, completely, all the way, with all your heart, soul, and mind. And acceptance means seeing things the way that they are, without trying to change them, even if you don't like it. Let's take a look at how radical acceptance can help on a day-to-day basis. You're going to meet Mary, who's late for work. Here's how her morning goes without skills.
Oh my, I have to be at work in 5 minutes. It takes 12 to get there. Oh, I can't believe I did it again. I'm always late. Oh, I'm gonna have to walk in late. Everyone's gonna judge me. I can't believe I did this again. Maybe if I go fast enough, I can get there on time. Move!
Okay, stop. There's a better way to do this. Here are the steps to radical acceptance. First, notice your emotion and notice that you're trying to change something that can't be changed.
Oh my, did it again. I'm such a failure. I'm always late. Okay, stop. I am frustrated with myself, and these thoughts aren't getting me anywhere.
Second, make a commitment to acceptance. This can be really difficult.
What does radical acceptance look like? Well, I can't change the past. I am going to be late. There might be consequences for that. Speeding could get me a ticket. Yelling at cars. Move! Well, that doesn't get me to work any faster. I need a plan.
Mary recognized that trying to control things that weren't within her control was actually making it worse for herself. Because Mary accepted the reality of the situation, she was able to move on to use other skills and be effective. Maybe she listened to music to help herself calm down, or coped ahead for a plan for how to apologize to her boss. At Amberwing, we have seen radical acceptance change lives.
I knew a kid whose parents got a divorce. He was so angry at his dad, but the custody arrangement said that he had to go to his dad's house every other week. While he was there, he refused to participate in any family activities. He moped around and he would just sit in his bedroom. Eventually, he realized how miserable he was making himself. He loved his dad and he valued that relationship. His anger wasn't making his dad change his mind, and the fact that he was having such a hard time at his dad's was making his mom feel worse. Once he accepted the reality of his situation, that his parents weren't getting back together, he was able to stop his suffering. It took a while, but once he was able to accept the fact that his dad wasn't coming back, he was able to begin working on improving their relationship.
Almost 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Before I was diagnosed, I was ignoring all of the symptoms: excessive thirst, unintended weight loss, and I was hungry all of the time. I attributed some of that to healthy eating and training for the half marathon. I decided to go to the doctor after going for a run and the bottoms of my feet were numb. When I walked into her office, I looked at her and I said, I think I have diabetes. And she ran some tests and sent me home and said she would give me a call back later. 3 hours later, she called and said, you need to go to the hospital. Your blood sugar was really high and you do have type 1 diabetes. I left the hospital 3 days later and I had lots of mixed emotions and I was struggling to accept the fact that this was now my new normal. I decided then I had two choices. One, I could fight against it and not really pay attention to my health, or I could continue to live healthy, keep running, and just add a few new changes in my routine. A couple of weeks later, I switched out my grandma's half bib for grandma's full marathon bib and decided to train even harder. I told myself I was greater than the highs and lows of diabetes, and I continue to remind myself of that every day. Some days are hard, and I continue to remind myself that I'm greater than the highs and lows of diabetes. And I know there will always be challenges, known and unknown, and through those challenges, I know that I can overcome any obstacle that diabetes throws at me.
Some things you can't control are the past, other people's actions, the fact that you have to go to school, death and illness, and even the weather. Some things you can control: your actions, your attitude, your willingness, and whether or not you use skills.